Hey guys, Mr. Conway here. We're starting our second rotation of PE class, and we're going to begin a striking with an implement unit. An implement is just a fancy word for an object. When we strike something, striking, we talked about this back when we worked with balloons in the first rotation, and we concluded that striking means when you hit something. Now today, when we use an implement or object we're going to strike with, you want to hit it with control. We're also going to use different objects to strike with today, different implements. I want you to think about, I'm going to give you a chance to, I'm going to pause this in just a second. Can you think of some activities or sports where they have to strike an object in order to play? I'm going to give you a second. Go ahead and pause it, and I want you to think of a couple of sports or activities where you have an implement or an object that you have to strike in order to play it. All right, we are back. So, if you were saying sports like baseball, you strike a baseball with a bat in order to play it. Or hockey, a stick and a puck. You have golf with golfers and their clubs and the golf balls. Ping pong, tennis, badminton, racquetball, pickleball. If any of your family members ever played pickleball. No, it's not with a pickle. So a lot of sports that have implements where you have to strike. Today, in just a second, I'm going to take you out into the gym. We're going to demonstrate our proper form for a forehand strike. That's the strike we're working on first today. We'll take you through some steps of that, and then I'll take you through today's lesson. All right, guys, let's go over our forehand strike today, the basics. We're going to start with a paddle. Now, if you have a paddle at home or a racket, great. But just so you learn what we're learning here in school, the flat part of the paddle, that's the face. That's what we want to strike with, okay? The long stem is the handle. When you grab the paddle, it's just like shaking hands with somebody. You're going to shake hands with the paddle. Now, how you know you did it correctly, if you look at your paddle, your thumb and your fingers are going to make a letter V. With our forehand strike today, when you strike, you're going to be able to see, or what you should be able to see, are your fingernails, okay? If you see your knuckles, that's called a backhand. We're not going to work on that today. So today, we're looking for fingernails. Now, how do you even know which hand to shake with? Use your dominant hand. Your dominant hand is the hand that you use the most. You write with your dominant hand, you cut with your dominant hand, you usually eat with it. So the hand that I use the most, I'm right-handed, that's the hand I'm going to shake hands with the paddle. Now, when I go to strike today, your forehand strike, you're going to have a balloon, hold it by the tail. The tail's just a little part where they blow it up and tie it off. What you're going to do is start sideways, you got your fingernails up. The motion here, the forehand strike comes from low to high. And when you finish, it's almost like you're scratching your back. So what I would like you to do, practice that motion first. Step with your opposite leg. In this case, it's your left. If you don't know your left from your right, that's fine. It's the leg that is opposite of the paddle. So I'm going to step, I'm going to swing low to high, and as I follow through, I could scratch my back. Step, swing low to high, follow through, scratch your back. Now, take your balloon, try to strike it right on the face of the paddle. You're going to step, swing, scratch your back. The key, hold the balloon. Don't throw it up. Just hold on to the balloon as you come through to strike. All right, guys, so we already went over forehand strike with the paddle. But I told you we're going to strike with different objects today. So what you're going to do is grab a second object from home. Maybe it's a Frisbee. Same thing, still shake hands with the Frisbee. When you grab it, you know, your V might look a little bit more like a U, just because you have a different shaped object than the paddle on a handle, or the handle on a paddle. So that's okay if the grip looks slightly different. Take your object. In this case, I got the Frisbee. I'm holding the balloon by the tail. I'm going to do the same steps. I'm going to step, come back, strike, and as I finish, I could scratch my back. With your objects today, see how many times in a row you can strike them with the forehand strike. Kindergartners, see if you can do it 20 times in a row. First graders, see if you can do it 30 times without letting the balloon touch the ground. Second graders, go for 50. You're a little older, make it a little harder. When you get the number of strikes, go ahead and switch to a different piece of equipment. I can go to the pool noodle next. Same thing. Shake hands with the noodle. Again, my V, it might look a little bit more like a U. As I grip it, hold the balloon by the tail, step with your opposite leg, step, swing, scratch back. Now it's time for our wow challenge of the day. So here's what I would like. I just have a poly spot, something that marks a spot for you to stand on. You can use anything at home, newspaper, magazine, just a piece of scrap paper. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. Put that on the floor. You gotta stand on it with one foot. It's going to be the same foot that you have your paddle hand in. So if I'm right-handed, it's my right foot. The wow challenge sounds simple, but it's a little bit difficult. That's why it's a challenge. You're going to see if you can keep your foot on your poly spot or your paper, whatever you're standing on, and strike your balloon with a forehand strike if you're in kindergarten 25 times in a row. But keep your foot for each strike on that spot. The left foot or your opposite foot is obviously going to step to strike. That does not have to stay on the spot. If you're in first grade, your wow challenge is 40 strikes in a row without letting the balloon hit the ground. And if you're in second grade, 50 strikes in a row without letting your balloon hit the ground. So when you're done with your lesson today, you need to reply 3 things in Seesaw. Number 1, which object you struck with at home was the easiest to strike with? Number 2, which object you were striking with at home was the most difficult to strike with? And number 3, did you complete the wow challenge? 25 strikes in a row if you're kindergarten, 40 in a row if you're first grade, or 50 in a row if you're in second grade, with your foot staying on the spot. Good luck. Look forward to hearing from you guys.